speaking, so it may be a hit or miss. But so the theme tonight is who God is. So that's what I'm basing mine off of. And to me, He's faithful. I mean, that's an obvious choice, but I'll explain why. So I'll just start from the beginning of my experience really with BCM and college in general. And I'll start with saying the Lord has done a lot in my life. And I'm going to say it doesn't come without trial and error. When I first came to Lander, I was a bit angry. I was lonely. I came to a school where I really didn't know anyone. And I left my small town of Pickens. And after being homeschooled throughout high school, I was clueless enough to approach college. I didn't know how to get friends. I didn't know how to study. And I was scared. And I did have one thing I knew. I knew that God was faithful to those who are faithful to Him. And my spirit was telling me I needed to follow Him. And I came into college pretty messed up. And even through my struggles, I knew that if I were to come into college and get involved in the wrong crowd, or go to a bar and have a drink, that'd be it. And so I knew I had to get involved somewhere with good godly influences. Now I want to say as soon as I put God first, everything worked out just fine, but that simply isn't the case. I had to pursue Him, I had to trust, and I had to remain faithful. The beginning was rough. I had not done so well in my first classes. I really didn't have many friends, like I said, and I was homesick. I missed my family, I missed my friends at home. And I remember me and Brian, my roommate, we decided to come to BCM. And my first BCM, the same thing repeated. We met no one really, we didn't make any connections, and we left kind of disheartened. And I remember we decided to come back, and the same thing repeated. And I distinctly remembering with him to come one last time. And that's when my college experience changed. And I walked through that door, we both did, and this guy named Grant spoke to us. He asked us if we wanted to go out to eat with him. He asked us if we wanted to sit down and just hang out with him. And it was great. And I met many great friends through him. And I want to say the Lord used him to get me and Brian both plugged in. And I continue to make good friendships here. And also I want to go off the record and say BCM is not a place where you don't make friends. This is just my personal experience. So don't go thinking things that are not true. Forgot where I left off. So my point is that through me and my roommate's constant pursuit of what we knew was right, the Lord blessed us. And if it weren't for the Holy Spirit in me, I wouldn't have wanted to pursue things with God. I wouldn't even be here. If it weren't for the Spirit, I would never have met my beautiful girlfriend, Caitlin. I never would have pursued godly friendships. I never would have found the great friends I have, like Brian, Jonathan, Isaac, or any of them, Joel. It's endless. I can go on and on about my friends. And if it weren't for his leading, I possibly wouldn't even be a Lander. I wouldn't have gone and rededicated my life to Converge. And most importantly, if it wasn't for our God being a faithful God to those who are faithful to Him, I wouldn't be standing in front of you tonight. Now, while it may sound like it's just a thing of doing what's right, that simply isn't the case. God brought me here out of those dark times. God didn't care that I was an angry high schooler, and I was just daily getting into fights or talk down His name. He still loved me. God was the one who instilled in my spirit that I wanted to pursue Him. He provided me opportunities to seek Him. And there's one thing that really stood out to me through all of my life. God has the same love for everyone. God's love is faithful. So faithful, in fact, that no matter how many times we turn our backs on Him, no matter how many times we forsake His name, no matter how many times we put things before Him, He's still there waiting with open arms. He wants to love and to accept us, no matter how we are. And I was just recently reading in Exodus, and it really stood out to me how many times the Israelites tried to push God away. They built a false idol against Him. They quite literally neglected Him as a God. And through all of that, they still were His chosen people. And God remained faithful to them. He still loved them. Don't you think He'd do the same thing to all of you? Exodus 32:6. Then the Lord passed by in front of him and proclaimed, the Lord our God, compassionate and gracious, slow to anger and abounding in loveliness and truth,